Anna Sabramowitz here, and I'm trying this live again. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to teach you my little trick, my little strategy on how to design e-learning that doesn't flop. So, why is this a problem? I think one of the things that happens sometimes is, I've been there myself, I'm only talking from personal experience here, is sometimes you end up putting things that either you're not necessarily proud of. There was too many things, too many cooks in the kitchen and too many ideas, and by the time it gets out there it's kind of like a Frankenstein piece, right? Where it's got all these inputs and all these things, and it's not the masterpiece that you imagined, right? So if you've ever been there, give me a hey yeah Anna. just let me feel that I'm not alone here in this failure story, okay? So I'm going to show you a strategy that I think will help you, because what it does is it helps you separate great ideas from not so great ideas, and also helps you focus a lot of the questions and the way you decide what gets to stay and what gets to go. So first off, now if you're looking for like a 5-minute skill pill, this is not going to be one of those. I'm going to take my time, explain it, give you a story, because I love telling stories, because I think stories help. So first off then, let me tell you a story. So I don't know if you ever had these parents, but my mom, when we moved to Canada when I was little, she got one of those puzzles that was like 1,000 pieces. And she worked on it forever. She worked on it so long, in fact, that I believe there was days where we couldn't use the kitchen table, like we had to eat someplace else because this thing was so huge. And it was of Neuschwanstein, I'm probably saying it wrong, castle, right? So I don't know if you've ever heard of this place, but it's like the fairy tale castle. It's the castle that Disney World or Disneyland was basically modeled on. Fantastical place. So years later, I didn't actually know what castle this was, but years later as an adult, I got to go there, which was really cool. Now, why am I telling you about this? So it's not really about the castle. It's not about that. What I got to do is when I got on the tour of the castle, and you got to like there's no like walking around looking at stuff. You're basically like cattle through this like single line, kind of like a conveyor belt of like you're walking through really, really fast and trying to absorb it all. But there's this one place which was so cool. It was the bedroom. So we got to see this prince's bedroom. And the castle itself, like, it's got a really cool history, and a sad one, because the guy basically stole from the people and built himself a castle, and it was extravagant, to say the least. But he was obsessed with swans. And when you walked into the bedroom, there was a bed there, and the bed was amazing. It was carved, I don't know if it was like a single piece of wood or what it was, maybe not, but the top of it had all these swans. And apparently, and I may have gotten it wrong, the man who worked on that bed, carving it, he carved it for 3 years. It was a masterpiece. Now, one of the things I think about when we design our e-learning is that, you have this vision in mind, and you want to create something that is a masterpiece like that. Like, I gotta tell you, when I walked into that place, I didn't see chairs, I didn't see anything else. You walked in and you saw that bed and you were like, whoa, that's amazing. And I don't know what that guy was thinking when he was making that bed for this one person, but I'm glad that more of us got to see it, right? But the thing is, when he was carving that bed, over 3 years, you probably have a ton of people coming in there going, this could really use like a book holder. This could really use like some curtain, like some cool, hidden pockets, or all kinds of stuff, right? But the guy had a vision, and he also had this kind of discerning, maybe question, saying, what's this about? What's this bed about? It's about swans. It really is. It's about swans. This guy's obsessed with swans. So I'm going to make him something where that theme of swans whether down to the feet, everything is going to be swan themed. Now I want you to hold on to that, because I think that actually is what helps you gain that clarity, is keeping the single-minded focus. Now how do you do that? What I want to share with you is my Prism analogy. It's a little framework I have. And the reason I think this is helpful is not just for you, because you may come into these you might come into these sessions or when you're starting your project, and you may not have an idea about your swan bed, right? You might have just a whole bunch of ideas because you're coming in, you're excited, you're talking into all these people, everybody's got all this stuff, you're looking out into the world, seeing all these examples, and you're thinking, wow, it's just so much, right? How do you get that zoned in and focused? And why do you need to get it zoned in and focused? Because if you add more, if somebody came in and said, we need some flowers, we need some bears, we need some other stuff into that bed, it probably would not have had the impact that it had, which is basically a swan lake on top of full of swans on top of a bed, which was just impactful, and the message came through so clearly for me. And that's one of the things you want to think about when you're designing your learning. Is that message, is the essence of what you're trying to accomplish, is that clear? Because the more you add in, the more ideas, the more content, the more variety, the more you dilute that message, and it's not clear. So let's just step back a bit. I'm going to draw my super cool diagram for you. You're going to be so impressed today, guys. This is going to be so impressive. There's no way. I was considering drawing the castle for you, and there's just no way I'm going to do that. But Google it. It's really cool, the fairy tale castle. So this is what's awesome about the Prism framework. Easy to draw. Yeah. Okay, what's a prism, right? A prism is basically a piece of glass in this triangle shape, and what happens is stuff, basically different colors or a whole bunch of light goes in on one side, and it comes out as a concentrated beam. I know there's a rainbow and all this stuff, but don't worry, I only have a black marker. So what I want you to think about is that your learning is a persuasion piece. You're trying to get people to believe something. You really are. It's like one of the things you want to try and make them believe is that following this process will make them more efficient. Following this process will get them more sales. You have to get them moving towards something. Now, if you have 15 things you're trying to get them to believe, you're going to lose on all counts. So that's why your message has to be very, very strong. But that's why you need this process up front, because this will help you manage all those ideas, all those things that are coming in, right? So this could be idea, opinion, idea. Now, this is kind of the danger, but not really a danger, of working with other people. When you come in to an organization or you work with another department, you work with experts, they want to give you their ideas. They want to tell you what they think. And this is a good thing. The worst is the opposite, right? I'd rather have more to choose from than less. But the thing is, those people aren't telling you this stuff because they want to, dilute the message. They're there. They want to be helpful. They want to contribute. They want to feel like, when you're sitting around the table and everybody's like, I got a great idea. Well, they're like, well, I better come up with something cool too. And they do. The problem is that not all of those ideas are helpful in you achieving your big mission, right? So one of the things that I want you to think about is, out of all these ideas, and this is a hypothesis stage you're still at, because when you talk to the business and when you talk to the experts and when you talk to the practitioners, you're going to have a lot of things, and some of them are not going to jive. Some of them are going to conflict with each other. Some of them are going to negate others. So you're going to have this, stock list of stuff, right? That are all sound really cool. But one of the things and I find this happens to me right after I end up really talking to practitioners and figuring out what the essence of their work is and where their major mistakes are, I find that this is where my big idea comes from. And you're thinking, Anna, what's a big idea? So when I want to say big idea, it's really like the main takeaway of this learning. So what happens is the big idea is almost also like the theme, and therefore whenever you're giving feedback, whenever you're providing resources, whenever you're choosing scenarios, they have to align with this. And if they don't, they're out. That's as simple as it is, because then you're diluting the message. So if, let's say, it's kind of like the way it works with, a book or a movie. If there's, like most movies have a major theme, right? It's like revenge or love or let's say overcoming fear or inner struggle, man versus himself, So all those things, the reason why movies are so memorable is because everything kind of aligns with that theme and supports that message, because it takes a bit of time to get that message through to somebody, right? They might need 3 or 4 types of situations or experiences for them to really get it. And so if you're trying to do, trying to sell them on 14 ideas, good luck with that. Like, you might get them on 1, maybe. So it's better to have, like I say in an interactive episode, where you have like 4 or 5 scenarios that they all align with your theme. Your theme could be making decisions with limited resources. So every single time you have a decision, it's not about the procedure of that decision. It's not about the nuances of that specific thing. It's about saying, hey, you need to make a decision even if you don't have all the info. And guess what? My feedback, my resources, my everything is driving them to understand that they don't have enough info. They need to make decisions anyways. And then there's resources to support them to make them more comfortable. But in the end, they're still going to have to pull the trigger and actually make the call. So that's one of the things that also happens is, yeah, you have all these ideas and you're vetting through them. So you can go basically through each one and say, does this idea complement my big theme, my big idea? Does this one complement this one? And if it doesn't feed into it, bye-bye. Or we save it for later. We might say we have two themes here, but each one of them deserves its own. They're equally important. One's about decision making, the other one's about leadership. Maybe collaboration. Separate those two and make them their own kind of punchy, powerful messages. Because, like I said, you're trying to persuade people. You're trying to make them believe a different way. They're coming in with their own assumptions and they think they already know. They believe things about themselves that are probably not true. Like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as that person because look, they have all this experience. Well, you're trying to sell them on something, right? So you gotta be definite about what you're trying to sell them on. So then what happens is every single one of these is vetted against the big idea so that you can come up with this. And the other thing is I want you to consider is that this is not it's not set in stone. You might have a big idea up front, and then as you learn from people, as you talk to, mostly, like I said, for me, it's practitioners, you realize, hey, it's actually not this, it's something else. There's a current that runs through all of these conversations I've had. That's the big idea. And then what's cool is every time somebody approaches you with an opinion or can we add this content in? And you're like, okay, but how does it support this big idea? And it's helped me a lot. Now, if you're serious about designing scenarios and interactive episodes, then go to brokencoworker.com and I put it up here because you really got to experience what this is like. And that one has definitely a theme. And if you know the theme, then post it in the comments because I'd love to hear that everybody's getting the same theme. But really the idea is that in order for us to get good at this stuff, you have to also experience it to have those ahas. And some of my students, Anlin, if you're watching, I love his story because he said, I went through Broken Coworker and I enjoyed it and it moved me. And I wanted to do more of that for other people. So the only way I think really you can share those kinds of and create those kinds of experiences is if you're like, I had one of those and it was awesome. How can I get more of that out there in the world, right? So definitely go and play with that demo several times if you can to see different paths and different consequences. And also then later as a person who's going to design something like this so that you can create something like this for your own people. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you like my drawing here, very sophisticated. If you enjoyed this, then let me know. Hit that like button. That'll just make sure that next time I post a video, you get to see it again, and it also spreads the word and, you know, tells me that you're enjoying these videos. And if you think somebody else is designing something that they might need a little bit of help with, then, you know, share this video with them. They might find these Prism framework a little bit helpful. All right, take care. See you next time.